Hello, my name is Chris, and I work with Doane University's College of Professional Studies and the Academic Support Center. This will be a quick video on some general tips on how to format your word processing documents. As an undergraduate or graduate student, chances are you're probably going to have to do some writing. So, the majority of our professors require APA formatting for their word processing submissions. There are a few professors who assign MLA and Chicago style, and oftentimes they may not have any specific stipulations, but there are connecting tissues for the formatting requirements that this video will cover, which can be applicable to APA, Chicago style, and MLA writing as well. So, for starters, just some good things to keep in mind. The first will be your font. Over here is where, under the Home selection in the taskbar, we'll want to make sure that you have an appropriate font size. Sometimes you think maybe I can get a larger font size, but this will be something that your professors will flag. So the good standard font size, and this is APA required, Chicago style, and MLA, is 12 point. So go ahead in the drop down before you start typing, make sure that you have selected 12. From here, we'll need to select an appropriate font style. There are some that are difficult to read, some that look a little informal, some that look cartoony. A good one to always go to, this is my preference, it's also required of APA writing, is Times New Roman. So this is in this drop down here. Once we ensure that Times New Roman is the selected style, and then the font size is 12, we're good to move on to the next formatting category. And this will be line spacing. In this version of Microsoft Word, we had this icon here that has an up and down arrow next to a couple of bar lines. And if you hover over it, you can see where it says line and paragraph spacing. So go ahead and click here. And currently it's set on single spacing, 1.0. We always want to select double spacing, as it is a requirement for APA and the other formatting styles, but it also makes your documents easier to read for your professors. And if they print off a copy and leave you handwritten notes or for corrections or revisions or comments, this will give them room to do so. If you are unable to locate this, you might be able to find your paragraph options menu. And that'll look like this. Paragraph is up here, and under spacing, you'll be able to see this line spacing drop down. Since we've already selected it in our home taskbar, double's already selected here. But if it's not, go ahead and click there and then click OK in the bottom right corner of this menu. All right, so the next thing to double check are your margins. Sometimes you think it might be easy, maybe move these a couple centimeters over here to the right, or perhaps this one over here to the left. Unfortunately, this is something that your professors will catch. It's very easy, sticks out like a sore thumb. So as a good rule of thumb, you always want to make sure that your margins are set in 1 inch across the board, top, bottom, left, and right. To ensure that these are accurate, go ahead and select the layout button from the taskbar up here, and then you'll see this margins icon with a drop down. Go ahead and click here, and the first option should be normal. And as you can see here, top 1 inch, bottom 1 inch, left 1 inch, right 1 inch. Go ahead and select that, and your margins will be good to go. So those are just the general things to keep in mind when you're writing your essays, as it's a pretty good universal formatting regardless of APA, MLA, Chicago style, or if your professors don't stipulate any particular format. All right, so now really quick we'll talk about indentation and paragraph spacing. So let's just say you've written your first paragraph. One thing, I just copied and pasted for convenience sake. One thing that you'll want to do is make sure that all of your paragraphs are indented. So here that top line was not indented. I just put my cursor right in front of the word to, and then hit my tab button. So we are ready to move on to our next paragraph. We have some good information in there. I click my return button on my keyboard. And the way that this is set up in my Microsoft Word document is it automatically indents the next paragraph. So we go ahead and start typing. Please forgive any typos. All right, and then we can continue from here. One thing I'll point out too is that you notice that there's no additional spacing in between these two paragraphs. That is the way you want it. You want to avoid this. Sometimes students think that they're okay not to indent because they had the extra spacing here. This is not correct. You always want to make sure that there is no additional spacing and that all subsequent paragraphs or all paragraphs in your essay, your paper, your word processing document are indented. Sometimes Microsoft Word will automatically format this to where it'll have that extra space in there and it won't indent. To correct this, go ahead and locate your paragraph options menu for this particular Microsoft Word. It is under line spacing options. And these spacings should be, before and after should be set at 0. And make sure that your options look very similar here. Go ahead and click OK, and this will ensure that there's no additional spacing between your paragraphs, and you're able to, if not, Microsoft Word will automatically indent all of your paragraphs. If you come across any questions or obstacles while you are creating your word processor documents, please feel free to email academicsupport@doane.edu. Any questions or comments, please leave below, and thank you very much for watching our video.